Bonjour, salut, hello. My name is Michael Rakowitz. I'm an artist living and working in Chicago, and I'm here to talk to you about the project that I'm doing for Beaufort 2021. It's going to be a sculpture project in Panne, and I am inviting you, citizens of Panne and elsewhere in Belgium, to take part. This is a project that can only happen with your involvement and your participation. So I'm excited to talk to you about it. It's a project that's based on the Jewish ritual of Tashlich, which means to cast away in Hebrew. And it takes place on the first day of Rosh Hashanah. Jews gather at oceans, rivers, lakes, ponds, or streams and recite prayer while throwing bread or stones representing sins or wrongdoings committed during the past year, so they sink into the depths of the chosen body of water. It is an act that merges penitence with accountability for transgressions and a commitment to take on the work that needs to be done to restore and heal the world to which we belong. This has always been the most meaningful event associated with the Jewish New Year for my family and for me. My Iraqi Jewish grandparents practiced it with my parents and me when I was very young, and it's something that I now practice with my own family here in Chicago on the beaches of Lake Michigan. When I was invited to conceptualize a project for De Panne, Heidi Ballet, the curator, told me about the shipwrecks from Operation Dynamo in 1940 that lined the seafloor as memorials to an historic evacuation. I began to think about the way shipwrecks become a compost that enables life under the sea to flourish, and the way in which the form of the ship continues to change even after being misshapen as a result of the violence of war. It brings to mind the geological formation of fossils through the act of concretion, wherein sedimentary matter forms around the organic objects. I began to think of the handheld objects from the soldiers that also lie on the seafloor, appearing as stone, concealing an item that was itself lost to the traumas of war. I was then reminded of the work I do with Iraq war veterans in the US and now also in the United Kingdom, and their act of throwing their medals either at representatives of NATO or in some cases even into the sea. The symbolic rejection of these commendations has a long history that dates back to my ancestor, Siegfried Sassoon, who, returning to England after World War I, threw the ribbon of his military cross into the River Mersey in a gesture of pacifism. I'm currently at work on a project in Margate, England, not far from De Panne, that deals with objects of trauma offered by soldiers and the families of soldiers that are embedded in a sculpture that serves as an anti-war monument, an anti-war memorial. As I have spoken with the descendants of those who have served in the wars, or those who have grown up in a war culture, I have learned that there is an intergenerational trauma that is rarely spoken. Moving beyond poppies to exhibit solidarity, mourning, and accountability, I propose a new shipwreck to be accumulated at De Panne. Citizens from all over Belgium will be invited to bring objects of trauma to be shed, objects that are sacrifices, objects that symbolize that something is being cast away, and embedded into a concretion of sediment that will then be sunk to the sea floor. The process of accumulation will serve as a critical moment of the work, as citizens are invited to record video or audio narrating their selected object and the reasons it was chosen. The objects will be on display in a kiosk in public space before the ceremonial embedding of the items in the concrete vessel. This aggregated votive of what is to be lost will then serve as an indeterminate work, offering nutrition upon which other life can grow, while those who have cast away their objects ponder the work they have agreed to take on. And just to give you an idea of what some of those objects can be, this is one of those pieces that was given to me by one of the soldiers for the project in Margate. This is actually metal for their service in the Iraq War, that they are throwing into the concrete mix, very much in the same way that Siegfried Sassoon threw his military cross ribbon into the River Mersey. But what it is that we choose to let go of is very personal and it's very subjective. And so I invite you all to think about the story that you would tell the object, or the story that the object would tell you, and to find the ways in which that object can serve as a kind of portal into not only the pain that we've all experienced in a world that's been at war for so long, but also symbolizing the things that we will do to make a world that one day, inshallah, knows no war. So I thank you for listening to this message and for your consideration. And I do hope to one day meet you and to be with you as we put this sculpture into the water off the shores of the Panne. Thank you. Merci. Tak.